Okay, Senator Britt, you're recognized.
Thank you so much, Madam Chairman. I appreciate it. And thank you for allowing me to have a few minutes to ask some questions. Mr. Secretary, thank you so much for being here today. Before moving on to a number of topics, and I know several things have already been covered that I had wanted to kind of dig into, I do want to be just honest and direct about my concerns with the Department of Education and their role in American education today. The issue of education policy, I believe, should fall within the domain of the states and localities rather than the federal government. When the Department of Education was established at a cabinet-level department in 1980, it was hoped that, among other things, the department would supplement and complement the efforts of states and localities to really improve the quality of education across the country. When I look at my great state of Alabama, obviously there are pockets of underserved areas that I believe need educational opportunities in order to truly move forward. I am of the belief that education is the foundation. It is the pathway to the American dream. And I'm frustrated that there are still so many pockets that lack the ability to really give a child an opportunity to move forward. And so when the federal government's involving moved, if you kind of sort of look back then the data showed in reading that the average score among a 17-year-old student it's not statistically significantly different than it is today. And so I look at those metrics that we use to create the department, and they look just about the same today. And so I'm frustrated with the lack of movement, with the lack of progress that I believe is hindering our children. So getting that aside, I want to jump into some questions. Mr. Secretary, on Monday, when discussed the current debate surrounding the debt ceiling, the White House press secretary said, if you buy a car, you're expected to pay the monthly payments. If you buy a home, you're expected to pay the mortgage every month. That is the expectation, end quote. Do you agree with that statement?
Thank you, Senator, for first of all, your comments earlier. I share with you that passion and that urgency to make sure that all kids in this country can succeed, and that place or race are not determinants or predictors of outcomes. So I truly share that belief, and that I appreciate your passion on that.
Thank you.
So with regard to your question.
Yes, so in the White House press secretary this week stated, if you buy a car, you're expected to pay the monthly payment. If you buy a home, you're expected to pay the monthly mortgage every month. That is the expectation, end quote. And I'm saying, do you agree with that statement?
I agree that,
okay.
yes.
So I am of the belief, and this is where I have some frustration, is I also believe that same logic must apply to student loans.
Right.
And so I'd like your perspective on that as well.
I appreciate that, Senator. And you know, we agree, and we're preparing to restart repayment because the emergency period is over, and we're preparing our borrowers to restart. But as you know, the HEROES Act provides me the opportunity to create a waiver for those who were impacted significantly by the pandemic, very similar to small businesses the year before, where Congress provided a little bit of support.
So it's been reported that the Biden administration is considering a number of steps to ensure a more gradual return to repayment once payments are formally scheduled to resume a 60 days after the pause expires. So some of the steps apparently include, one, student loan servicers not charging interest on federal student loans again until September. The second one that is out there is delaying until October as the first of the month, in which any borrower will be required to make a payment. And the third one that is out there is the implementation of a certain safety net period in which borrowers aren't penalized for missing payments once repayments begin. So, Mr. Secretary, can you confirm if the department is considering these measures or any similar measures that might be put into place after that pause expires?
Yeah, thank you, Senator. We recognize after 3 years of paused payments through 2 administrations that the repayment restart is going to be a very important step, and we want to make sure it's done right. We're confident that the targeted debt relief will address some of the concerns of some of our borrowers who are struggling right now. But as they re-enter repayment, it's really important that we provide support for them. With regard to specific strategies, I'd be happy to have my team follow up to respond to those specific
I would greatly appreciate that. My
questions you have.
time is expiring. I just want to say, I agree that if you buy a car, you're expected to make your monthly payments. If you buy a home, you're expected to pay your mortgage. And if you take out a loan, you're expected to repay it. And that comes obviously with student loans as well. So I think we have to teach our children that if you assume a responsibility, you have to figure out and have a path forward to fulfill that responsibility. So thank you so much, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Britt. Senator Capito.